is a wave. Well, obviously, that's a wave, and that's a wave. In fact, the waves just keep on coming. When we talk about a wave, this is what people normally think about. Or maybe this as well. But actually, there's waves all over this beach other than the water. We can hear the waves via sound waves, and we can see what's happening via light waves. Actually, I'd probably say we're living in a wave world.
This is Croydon, Devon, the training base of Surfing GB, our international team. I'm with some of the best young surfers in the country to find out what waves are all about.
You want to be able to tell me what a wave is?
Movement of energy in the water.
Like moving the energy in the water?
Yeah.
And you lot kind of ride that energy home?
Yeah.
What does it feel like to ride such a big wave?
There's a lot of water moving around when the waves are bigger, so you kind of feel a bit vulnerable.
Yeah.
And you definitely get put in your place a couple of times, get held down.
You can see what's happening in the wave by watching the surfers waiting for the next big one. While they're waiting, the surfers only move up and down while the wave passes under them. That means the water they're floating in moves vertically up and down, while the wave travels horizontally towards the shore.
There are two types of wave, and my friends here from the surf club are going to help us demonstrate. So first up, a Mexican wave. Oh, and again.
If you look at just one person, they aren't going anywhere. It's the movement of the arms that passes down the line from one person to the next. And when that happens, you've got a wave.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like what happens in sea waves. The water goes up and down, but the wave moves forward. Sea waves, light waves, and Mexican waves are called transverse waves. The movement of the water particles, or the arms, is at 90 degrees to the direction of travel.
But there's another sort of wave. It looks really different from the transverse wave. Let's go.
Just like the transverse wave, the wave travels forward, but the people stay where they are. Only this time, their movement is forward and backward, in the same direction as the wave. Because the movement is along the wave, this is called a longitudinal wave. The movement of the people is in the direction of the wave, not at 90 degrees. Sometimes it's called a pressure wave, and you can see why. The spaces between the people are compressed. In the real world, sound is a longitudinal wave, passing through particles of air. So when you listen to the crashing waves here at Croydon Bay, that's longitudinal waves, sound. And when you watch them, it's thanks to transverse waves, light. But as for surfing, I'm going to leave that to the experts.
You wouldn't catch me out there. It's too cold. I'm here at the Welsh National Opera for the Ultimate Wave Destruction Challenge. I want to see if some of the singers here can smash one of these using their voice alone.
These singers are part of Welsh National Opera Youth and Community. If you want to destroy something with the human voice, you need a powerful voice that can hold a note. And these singers are awesome.
Right, guys, so your challenge today is to smash a wine glass using the power of your voice. To do that, you're going to have to perfectly match the natural frequency of this wine glass. If I ping the glass, 540 hertz.
Hertz is the unit of frequency, the number of sound waves per second, and its symbol is Hz.
That's what it sounds like. You think you can match that? It's going to get pretty loud, so we're going to need you guys to put on the headphones. We've got these on to cover us from the glass, if you manage to get it to smash. Now, we're also going to stick a straw in the wine glass, so if you match the frequency right, the straw will start going crazy inside the glass. Okay, so do you think you guys can do it? Okay, Larry, do you want to go first?
But have they got the power?
Here is the tone. In your own time.
This is really difficult. The glass doesn't have an exact musical note like a piano. It's somewhere in between. And that's really hard for opera singers used to hitting the note every time.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, mate!
Slowed down about 300 times, it's incredible just how much the glass distorts. The glass vibrates at its own frequency, its natural frequency. If the singers are exactly in tune with the glass, sound waves arrive in time with the movement, which gets bigger and bigger until the glass can't take it anymore and bam, it breaks. Smashing stuff with sound waves isn't just for fun, it's also used in medicine. Kidney stones are nasty hard deposits that form in your kidneys. Little ones will pass out with your urine, but bigger ones can be really painful, and they've got to be smashed. Simon has a kidney stone that's 1 centimetre across. You can see it with ultrasound, high-frequency sound waves that can travel through the body. The hard kidney stone reflects the sound and shows up clearly. The ultrasound uses quite gentle sound waves. But this machine is another story. It's called a lithotripter. It means stone breaker, and it can break stones inside a kidney without harming anything else. The sound waves this machine makes can be focused on the kidney stone. And even though they're deep in the body, the sound waves break up the stone so it can pass out safely. But the most surprising thing is that the sound gets into Simon not through the air, but through water. And to see why, I've got a couple of the opera singers to join me at the waterside at Cardiff.
To see just how sound travels through air and water, we're going to do an experiment. Yolanda, way over there on the other side of the harbour, is going to make some noise. Tomo here's going to listen to the sound as it travels in the air, in the normal way. Whereas Caitlin is going to listen to how the sound comes through the water for a special underwater microphone. So here's the deal. Right, guys, I want you to keep your back to Yolanda, and then we just want you to listen out for the sound of the hammer being hit. And then when you hear it, raise your hand. Okay, you guys ready? Right. How was that for you guys? Like, how did it sound to you?
It sounded like a sort of like a clap.
And for you, how did it sound when you listened to it?
It sounded like someone was hitting a bell. It was like a gonging sound.
But which sound gets here quicker?
Could you perceive between you whose hand went up first?
I think mine went up slightly faster, ever so slightly.
Yeah, yours went a little bit quicker than mine. I'm not too
A
sure.
little
Though.
bit.
Caitlin is listening to the sound through water, and it looks like it gets there first. When Yolanda hits the metal pillar with a hammer, the sound will travel through the air and the water. It reaches the underwater microphone in just 0.06 of a second, but the sound through air is still getting there. It arrives at Tomo's ears 1/4 of a second later.
Do you think you could say why it was perhaps quicker for you and slower for you?
I think it's something to do with like particles and like a liquid and obviously in the air. So
Okay.
obviously in the liquid they're closer together, maybe.
Yes, it is because the particles in the water are actually closer together. So the sound actually travels quicker through the water than the air.
Sound travels faster and further in water than in air. This helps whales and dolphins communicate over huge distances, and it helps doctors to destroy kidney stones, thanks to the destructive power of waves.
This is prize-winning photographer Reese McCready.
He won the Amnesty International Young Photographer Award with some amazing images.
Well, when I was 10 years old, I was given my first camera for Christmas, and since then I haven't really looked back. I just keep buying new equipment and taking more photos. Generally, my work is through portraiture. I find that I'm able to express things better through portraiture. What inspires me is the fact that every moment you capture on a camera will never happen again. It's never going to reoccur, so every image you have is an individual image, and that's what I find amazing with photography, really.
Now today, Reese intends to take an amazing portrait picture of his friend Lola. Everything that he does in this studio is really down to light waves and the way that Reese controls them. I'm going to work out what happens to the light waves as they travel from this light, reflect off Lola's face, into this camera. Let's look at that first step on the light waves journey, reflection. And the reflection we all know about is what happens when you look in the mirror. When Lola looks into the mirror, she sees herself, obviously. It looks to her like she's sitting in an identical chair on the other side of the mirror. To your eye, the light reflecting off the mirror looks exactly the same as if it came from a person the same distance from the glass as Lola is, but on the other side. Of course, there isn't really anyone sitting there, so what you see in the mirror is called a virtual image. Back in the studio, there's more reflection going on, of Lola's face. But can I see my face in it? No, no matter how hard I look, I still can't see my face in her face. Why is that? In the case of a mirror, it's nice and smooth. So when light comes in one direction, it goes out in one direction. That's called specular reflection. But with Lola's face, that ain't the case. Although it looks lovely and smooth from the outside, actually, if you was a wave of light, her face would actually appear to be as jagged as a mountain range. No offense. So that means that the light actually bounces off in all directions. This is called diffuse reflection, and it's a challenge if you want to capture an image. Reese's lens is a sophisticated bit of optical engineering with lots of glass elements to make a really sharp image. What's happening in Reese's lens is refraction, and that's all about changing the direction of light. The challenge is to make an image of Lola from reflected light. Thanks to diffuse reflection, those rays of light are going all over the place. But if we use a curved piece of glass, something amazing happens. This is refraction. When light enters glass at an angle, it changes direction, and the way this glass lens is curved means it directs all the rays to one place. Even with a really simple lens, like this one, you can still get a really great image. Check this out. The lens takes reflected light off every point of the building and focuses it into an image on the back of the box. It's just one bit of glass, but it still produces an amazing image of that building over there. The final part of the light wave's journey happens inside Reese's camera, where the light is turned into an electrical signal. Here's how it does it. Every light wave carries a bit of energy. In this light detector here, the resistance changes when light hits it. That means you can measure the brightness of each part of the image and use that information later to recreate it. But doing it my way, there's just one problem. See now, I only got one detector. This is gonna take ages. In Reese's camera, every pixel is a separate light detector. He's got 20 million of them, all working in an instant to capture a moment in time. And that's the end of the line for the light wave, turned into electrical energy in the camera's sensor. In total, Reese took over 300 pictures of Lola today. But he does have a favourite, and he's ready for the big reveal. I want to see the goods. Keep me out of my suspense. What's going on? God, fair play, man. I particularly like the bow tie.
Thank you.
All waves reflect and refract. And it's because light is a wave that we can make amazing images just like this one. Well done, man. This is one of the most amazing vehicles I've seen in my life. Strapped in nice and safely there.
Yeah.
Not only is it fast and sleek, but it's beautifully engineered. Most amazing of all, it's powered by light. This is Cambridge University Eco Racing. Since 2007, successive generations of students have been designing and refining a solar-powered car.
But it's a lovely looking vehicle. What's it for?
So we aim to enter the World Solar Challenge 2015, which is the race across the outback of Australia. It's 3,000 kilometres from Darwin to Adelaide. You have to build a car that's run entirely on solar power.
You're all students. What's your backgrounds behind it?
Yeah, I'm a fourth year. This is my project, working on the stability of the car.
Everyone's doing their course and you can get bogged down with doing the maths, so it's good to show what actual real-life engineering can do and how exciting it can be.
So how fast can it go?
So it should be going up to about 110 kilometers per hour.
That's nearly 70 miles an hour. But it won't go that fast until all the safety testing is complete. After all, it does have to make it across Australia. And when it does, it will be powered by 200 solar cells, the black things you can see.
And where do they come from?
These are sort of space-grade solar cells, re-engineered slightly so they'll work on the ground.
Oh my gosh, so these would be used in space?
Yep.
How much energy can I get from them, say?
So for the entire array on the car, about as much as a small hairdryer. And at the moment, these panels we've got here are producing about 140 volts.
Wow, so that's like almost 100 batteries.
Yep.
So how do they actually work?
So the light waves come in from the sun, and when they hit the panel, they cause the electrons to be pushed around the circuit, which drives, say, the motor, for example, in the car.
Solar power isn't just about electricity. I'm solar powered, and so are you. Light energy powers the plants, and they power us.
That energy has come all the way from the sun, 93 million miles through space in 8 minutes at the speed of light. Plants capture the energy in sunlight to make food. It's called photosynthesis.
The stuff in plants that captures the light is called chlorophyll, and we can get it out by using alcohol.
The thing you notice about chlorophyll is the colour. It's what makes green plants green.
So you might think that green light's important to photosynthesis, but you'd be wrong. This spectrum contains all the colours in sunlight, but if you look at it through the chlorophyll, well, you can't see the red or the blue, or even the purple, but you can see the yellow and green.
That's because it's the blue and red light that's absorbed by chlorophyll and used to power photosynthesis. The only light that's not used is the green and yellow. So plants are green because green is the one colour light they don't use in photosynthesis, so it bounces off. Looks nice though. Before humans came along, photosynthesis was the only way to capture the sun's energy. But now we're inventing all sorts of ways to do it.
Light energy is extremely versatile. It can be used to make electricity, to make heat, or even food. But most important of all, it's the only source of energy that we get that comes from outside the planet. I've come down to Leeds College of Art because they really know about colour here.
We're doing an experiment to work out how light waves make colour. Job 1, some colour painting. It's just the words red, green and blue in the colours red, green and blue.
So I can see that you're drawing green in green and you're painting the word red in green. What makes that blue?
I think it depends on which colours are absorbed and which colours are reflected.
Like, how about the paper? What makes the paper white? Why is it white?
Well, white light is made up of all of the colours, apart from black.
The students here know a thing or two about colour. But are they right? Is white light really made from coloured light? I've got lights in the 3 primary colours, red, green and blue. Primary colours are the ones all the other colours can be made from.
And we have cells in our eyes that actually respond to them. Let's see what happens if we combine some of those colours together using light. First of all, let's combine red and blue. And that gives us a colour called magenta. Now, if we move the blue light onto the green light, we get a combination called cyan. Now, if we was to bring the red over to the green, we actually get another colour, yellow. Now let's see what happens if you combine all three of them. As you can see in the center, we've actually got white light.
It's true. When red light, green light, and blue light combine in your eye, what you see is white. Now for the experiment. When light falls on the painted words, what makes them look different colours?
Now only one of each colour word is actually painted in the same colour as the word. Pretty easy to see, isn't it?
How about if we change the light?
Brilliant.
The red paint and the white paper reflect the red light, so they both look red. The green and blue paints absorb it and look almost black. In blue light, it's the blue paint and white paper that look blue. The other colours go black.
So let's see if some of the artists here can work out what's going on.
To test these guys' colour knowledge, we've made it just a bit more difficult.
So obviously, this is in black and white to make it a little bit harder, but I want to see if you guys can work out which of the words is painted in its correct colour.
In white light, all the words reflect their own colour.
They're all the same, you think we're trying to trick you.
In the black and white picture, you just can't tell them apart.
So can we have the next slide, please? So this is shining red light at the images.
Now there's a big difference. The lighter parts of the picture are where the red light was reflected. The dark parts where it was absorbed.
Which one do you think is written in red? The middle? The one that's disappeared? So these are all red?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's the same in blue light.
I think the first one is blue.
The first one? This one here? Do you all agree? So this is blue and it's matched by that, that, and that. They all look the same. So let's put you out of your misery and let's check the actual colours. So you was right, see?
And if you master the science of light and colour, you can use it to create some pretty amazing artistic effects.
Okay, so we've got some pictures down here made by an Italian artist called Karnofsky. And it looks like a cacophony of images, loads of stuff happening on one page. But actually, if we change the light again, we'll see something magical happen. You can see that the picture isn't so confusing anymore, is it? And as we change from red to green, you can see that a different picture comes out. Then actually, as you go on to blue, you can see the picture change again.
3 overlapping images in different colours are revealed by the red, green and blue lights. Inspired by Karnofsky, the students have created their own magic art, powered by the science of colour absorption and reflection. I've come to this recording studio near Swindon to work with an amazingly talented 16-year-old musician. This is Charlie Ann Bradfield, a singer-songwriter who is already making waves in the southwest. Charlie Ann's here to record one of her own tracks, and getting a great result depends on capturing the sound waves produced by her voice and guitar.
Hey Charlie Ann.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
What actually got you into music?
The thing that got me into music was watching live bands and artists around Swindon, and I just wanted to be like them.
So, like, how old was you when you first started?
I'd say about 13.
13?
Yeah.
What's been your biggest gig then that you've done?
My biggest gig has to be the O2 Arena in London.
Nice.
Yeah.
We've got a particular song that you're going to be doing for us. What's it called?
The song's called Butterfly.
Butterfly.
I'm going to follow what happens to the sound wave as it goes from Charlie Ann through the microphone, the recording equipment in the control room, and finally out of the loudspeaker as the track we hear.
Could you play me a note A, please? Excellent. Now, this tuning app doesn't just tell us the note that's being played, it also tells us the frequency, which is how many sound waves there are per second. So in the case of an A, that was, play it one more time, 110 sound waves per second. But if you play it an octave higher, what do we get? Excellent. So when it's an octave higher, we can see it's gone up to 220 sound waves per second, which is twice what it was before. Now there's a little HZ there, and that basically stands for hertz, which is the unit of frequency. So instead of saying sound waves per second, I can say hertz. So a higher A is 220 hertz.
But how does the sound wave get from the guitar into the air?
When Charlie unplucks a guitar string, it strikes particles of air that are nearest to it. Then that hits into the next ones, and the next ones, and so on and so forth. And so the sound wave travels through the air. Something like this.
A sound wave is a longitudinal wave because unlike a wave at sea, in sound waves the air particles move back and forth along the wave in the direction of travel.
This type of wave is also sometimes called a pressure wave. When air particles are closer together, the air pressure is higher. When the air particles are further apart, the air pressure is lower. These tiny changes in pressure can be picked up by a microphone. The microphone's job is to convert sound waves from the air into an electrical wave that can be edited or recorded. Inside here is a flat sheet called a diaphragm. It's a bit like this. When sound waves arrive, the air particles hit it and cause it to move backwards and forwards, just like this.
Turning that into an electrical wave is surprisingly simple. All you need is a magnet and a coil of wire.
When a coil of wire is moved in a magnetic field, it creates an electrical current in the wire. That's how electrical generators work. So in a way, a microphone is a tiny electrical generator.
So if I fit the lid, I've got a homemade microphone. The idea is that when sound waves move the lid, it moves the coil of wire.
But does it work? 1, 2, testing, mic check. 1, 2.
I've connected the coil to my loudspeaker.
Oh my gosh. Oh, yeah, I like that. I like that. Bass.
And now we've got an electrical wave out of the microphone, it can be recorded and also played back. Finally, after all the hard work, the electrical waves have to be turned back into sound waves so we can hear them. That happens in the loudspeaker. The white round thing is made of paper, so for my homemade one, I've used a paper plate. It's a bit like a microphone in reverse. This time, the electric wave is put into the coil of wire, which becomes an electromagnet. Put another magnet nearby, and they will attract and repel each other. The coil moves the paper plate, and the plate moves the air, hundreds of times a second, in time with the waves. And that's what happens in a studio loudspeaker too.
That was amazing.